Flowed like Savantes, I'm looking for the ward, sorta like old Savantes, looking for a sword with the soul caliber, so violent, leave hoes silent, bruh. EMC's whole vitals up. Fighters tough, I appear as foe, slow coasting, try and bluff, but you're scared like the bro a whole ghost ship. Oh shit, the rider smoking like a fire potion. I retire most men with higher desire for roasting.
Yo, what's good, everybody? Got your boy, your Dizzy and I'm coming back at y'all with another fair use reaction video. Today we are going to be reviewing a pretty disturbing video from one Crimson Cure. She's very well known in the space, gets a lot of respect from the men in the space. Apparently she's a ally to men. I personally don't know. I don't know any of these people personally. I just see glimpses of things here and there, or I hear people talk on different channels and stuff, and I can extrapolate whether a person potentially means good or not, and I reserve the right to determine for myself if these people mean well. I don't just listen to what some other content creator says, like, oh, because so and so says she cool with me. I don't do stuff like that. Like, I have to get a feel for the individual, see some of their content. Personally, I would have to talk to them personally and get this peer into their personal lives so I can see how they actually interact with those around them before I could give a proper judgment. So always tread lightly with caution when it comes to women in the men's space, because I never know if they're just chameleons trying to grift or if they're the real deal. But for what it's worth, the Crimson Cure, she seems like a very level-headed, intelligent, feminine young lady. I have respect for what it is that she says and the image that she puts out, so I'll just leave it at that. But she has a video that's going to show you exactly what I keep talking about on this channel, that women are just terrible people. Not all women, but the types of women that you might find us critiquing over here in these Crimson Capsule spaces. Like, these women are terrible people. You're going to hear that on my channel ad nauseum, that these women that in the finesse culture, playing men, tricking on men, being sugar babies, setting dudes up to go down, scamming, finding ways to get money out your pockets without you getting anything in return. These women are horrible people. They practice toxic behavior and they're shitty human beings, and I'm going to keep talking about it. But in this video clip, you are going to see how in the hood, the type of trauma and abuse us young black individuals go through at the behest of our own parents. Like, a lot of the times in the hood, our own parents teach us some of the worst behaviors that you could ever imagine. So it's like, it's no hope for us growing up and being decent, civilized, productive members of society, because the first line of defense to teach us how to be decent citizens is our parents, and they're the ones teaching us to steal. They're the ones teaching us to lie to the bill collectors when they call. They're the ones teaching us to not tell somebody if they secretly committed a crime. They're the first ones teaching us to be dishonest. My parents told me all type of dishonest things. Now, my parents weren't like no drug dealers or no kingpins or nothing like that. They worked a 9-to-5 job, but they were abusive. They told us to lie to bill collectors and say that they weren't home when they were, but then told us not to lie or we'll get a beating. My parents were very physically abusive. I mean, incredibly physically abusive. I have an attitude problem partly because of how abusive they were, because they would just put their hands on me for absolutely no reason or excessively beyond what was necessary, and would not explain to you what the infraction was. It's just, oh, you being a badass, I'm gonna knock you out, I'm gonna knock you somewhere, I'm gonna plant you somewhere. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't about, son, you can't do these things because society has a standard that they put on you where if you don't meet that standard, there will be consequences. Like, no, there's no lesson. It's just, oh, you made me mad for the day, bop, 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 bop. You know what I'm saying? And this is consistently, incessantly, ongoing, days, months, years. That's why little males, well, even the girls, are so aggressive in the hood because they're getting abused. Like, there's beatings when you're wrong, and I'm perfectly okay with that. But then there's straight up abuse, body slamming, excessive beating, making your children bleed. All of this stuff goes on in the hood. It's terrible. And you're about to witness a view into where it starts. And it starts with Big Mama. It starts with the grannies. Like, this poor culture that us African Americans suffer from, that's then been promulgated into like the rap music and the whole ghetto culture and the hood economics and all that stuff. This all stems from the women pushing the men out of the homes back in the welfare era in the 80s, and the crack and the selling of drugs, and the moms and the grandmas looking the other way while the boys sold the drugs because they was putting money in the mailbox. All of that, all of this stuff basically happened because of the decisions that the women in our community made. And you can see this for yourself.
You could be sad in another nigga's arms, bro, crying over a motherfucking piss ass nigga. I'll drop his ass and give you 10 more. You can't get niggas. You must be ugly as fuck. That was a motherfucking question. Do you hear me, bitch? See, you ain't none of my granddaughter. Cause I have a goddamn nigga pay all my goddamn bills.
Shit is sad.
My rent, my...
Notice how this old mummified heifer said I'd, if you didn't hear that apostrophe D at the end, meaning past tense. Cause yo, mum raw looking ass, you can't do that no more. And that's why you so fucking mad, because that's what you used to have, but now your old ass ain't got no niggas to play. Ain't no niggas paying that light bill. Ain't no 10 niggas lining up. Ain't nobody lining up to dust that old raggedy, dusty ass, cobweb filled cooch off. Nah, I cannot stand women like her because they're the ones that destroyed our community. They're the elders that were entrusted to make us better citizens, to be able to acclimate to this new culture after coming out of slavery and not really knowing how it is we supposed to act in this new world, this new civilization that we've just been given access to. Our parents were supposed to make sure that we had the skills and the tutelage necessary for us to succeed as a whole people, not just this individual brother got his family, this individual sister. Nah, after slavery occurred, all black people should have said, no, we want better for ourselves, because all of that mess that we went through, all of that suffering, all of the blood that's been spilled, all of the civil rights leaders that have been martyred, we deserve to repay them for their sacrifice with making sure that the black people are a wonderful people, are a light-filled people that are going to do great things as a collective, not just a handful of us doing great things, but all of our cities are in shambles. I mean, every single major black city is just a mess, just chaotic. I'm sure there's some decent ones somewhere, but in general, all these black neighborhoods with all these ghetto ass hooligans and these nigglets, culture is passed on from the women. It starts with the women. It's not that men aren't at fault, but the men that are terrorizing the societies and the hoods all across America are raised by women. Must understand that all of these problems come from no men being in our black communities. This is the end result.
Gas, my life, my every goddamn thing. Even pay my goddamn motherfucking car note, bitch. Slow ass. See, I have a goddamn liver in every code, bitch.
It's not a flex. Imagine saying you being a 304 is a flex.
This is how the girls get talked to. This is how the girls get talked to. Especially when there are no men around. When there are no men around, okay?
See? Lack of men.
He can be so much as just at work. which I don't know if grandma might not even be married, but I'm talking in general. In these households, even if the man is there, like living there, whenever he leaves, goes to work, whatever he's doing, okay, the women do the girls like this. See, one misconception that's had is that in this climate of the boneyard, in these family dynamics, just because we talk about how the women eventually end up, how they try to finesse dudes, and the things that men go through in the relationships and growing up, I think the misconception is that the women get treated well when they're girls. No, we don't. And it doesn't matter if we're gonna be hyenas or lionesses. It doesn't matter. All of it is the same training. We all get talked to like that. She called her a B a couple of times. We all get talked to like that. We all get the verbal abuse.
That's true. I just spoke on that. I was verbally and physically abused virtually daily as a child. Seriously. Like, that's part of being raised as a little hood nigga. Honestly, I'm just being honest with y'all. Anybody out here who's not from the hood, or you don't really understand how come black people always got a chip on their shoulder, it's because we're constantly abused. And it's just being honest with you. She's sitting here co-signing it from the female's perspective. We are constantly abused by our parents, by our caretakers, sometimes sexual abuse. Seriously. And it'll be by your own family members. Now, I haven't suffered that from my parents or like a caretaker or anything like that, but this stuff is rampant in the hood. It's just an environment of broken, hurt people that are hurting other people. That's all the hood is. A bunch of warped, twisted people that need therapy and healing, just hurting each other over and over again. That's it. Because you can see from all the vitriol that granny was spitting, she's a hurt person. Somebody hurt her. The hundreds of men she ran through, some of them probably slapped her up. Some of them probably denied her what she wanted. Some of them probably cut her off. Some of them probably hurt her feelings. Some of them, she probably fell in love with the one guy and he didn't give her commitment. That's what started it in the first place, see? And so she goes on to hurt a bunch of men. And then those men that are hurt by her go on to hurt other women because they got played by her. It's a never-ending cycle. And this is prevalent in the hood. This is the hood. It is the entire makeup of the hood is just a never-ending cycle of hurt people hurting people. It's tragic, really.
All get the psychological abuse. We get the gaslighting. We get all of that stuff. We get that stuff. And like I said in the comment that I made on the video, this is done. This is the degradation, the humiliation, the gaslighting. All of that is done until either she conforms to the hyena clan or is broken by it. And the thing that I forgot to add is the ostracizing from it. Okay? She's either going to conform and start being like that so that she can try to please the females in her family so that she doesn't have to go through this type of berating all the time. Or she's going to let it break her spirit. Or if she's going to be a more strong-willed lioness, she's going to be ostracized for not conforming and not being broken by it.
That's true.
Scarred but not broken.
The representation of that concept in my personal life was after my parents divorced and my mom took my dad to cleaners and ruined his life and everything like that. She wanted to control the narrative from the perspective of your father wasn't nothing. He didn't want y'all. He didn't want to be in y'all life. That wasn't even the truth. My father, I remember when we went through divorce court that my dad, he wanted custody of his boys because he told my mother, she's a woman. She's not going to know how to raise these young boys to be men. So let me get the boys. You can keep, the daughter, because I have a sister. You can keep the daughter, I'll get the boys, and we can basically like switch up. Like I had the boys during the weekend, you can have them the weekend, and you can have the daughter during the week, and I'll get her during the weekend. Like that's what he suggests. But she like, nope, I want full custody. Fuck you don't get to see the kids at all. Hurting people, see, because my parents, they went through a lot of crap doing bad things to each other. So they hurt people. My mom's hurt what my dad did to her. My mom did something to my dad. My dad do something to my mom. My mom say through the divorce, I'm going to retaliate. And in that, end up hurting her children. And then I go out there and go commit crimes. I'm hurt, so I go out and hurt other people. So just a cycle of hurting people all day. And it's like, these women be so bitter about whatever outcome that occurs, they'll burn down the entire village on their way out. Like my mom literally kept moving every so often so my dad couldn't figure out my location. I mean, this is really evil. Especially, I mean, this is my biological father. And these are the things that hood people do. Not to say that people that aren't from the hood don't do this as well, because I'm sure in white communities this happens all the time. It's prevalent in Mexican communities, Japanese communities, Oriental communities, whatever. Because it's not about, well, with us it's about the culture, because a large portion of our culture is just toxic. But for most other people, it's just that individual person will just be a piece of shit. And so, they'll treat their children a certain way, do bad things, and then those children pick up those bad habits and pass them on to their children, or they hurt additional people, and so on and so forth. But this is very real, the trauma and all of the extreme berating and the negative scenarios that you have to go through as a hood person. And it's almost a miracle that you even turn out as a decent person when you're raised like this. Seriously, like listening to her speak, it's just making me reflect on the fact, like, damn, based on how I was raised, how am I even currently a decent individual? Because I feel like my upbringing should have guaranteed my destruction, honestly, if I had to be frank.
It only gets worse. If you are a lioness in this situation, this gets worse as you get older, because they realize you're not really conforming and you're not really breaking either. It may have you down. You may go through something like I went through depression and stuff like that.
That's what I meant to say earlier, and I got trailed off from the point. It was the idea of conforming. My mother wanted to convince me and my siblings that my dad was a horrible person, and that was her mantra. He ain't ish, he ain't ish. That little bit of check I get from the government ain't nothing. Your dad ain't shit, right? But the whole time I'm like, I want to see my dad. I miss my dad. And because of that, I was an outcast. I was the black sheep in my family because I never believed the lies. I was like, no, I want my dad. I want to live with my dad. I don't believe you. And because of that, aside from the fact that I look like a spitting image of my dad when he was younger, that made my mom have secret hatred towards me, and she made my life a living hell just because I wouldn't go along with the fake notion that my dad was a horrible human being or that he didn't want to be in my life. So what Miss Crimson Cure is saying is 100% true. When you do not go along with the toxic narrative, there will be repercussions and you'll just get it even worse.
But at the same time, you still, at the end of the day, are who you are, and you're not really still not conforming to it. So this type of degrading verbal attacks, sometimes physical attacks, because they are not beyond beating us. Our grandma, you see how she grabbed her up? Grandmas, moms, aunts, they're not beyond the physical assault. Okay, you will get assaulted by them. They will
frequently
put their hands on you for real. Like, put their hands on you for real. I'm not talking about a mother spanking their daughter. I'm talking about you 15, 16 years old and she trying to fight you like a chick in the street. That's what I'm talking about.
It's true.
Because you don't conform,
items fully enabled, like it's Smash Brothers.
Like
that. Items, all the items turned on.
You're not really down with the different shenanigans. You're not going to really be a participant. You're there in the environment because you can't help that.
Frying pan, broomstick, extension cord, coat hanger,
but at the
switch,
same time,
all items turned on.
You don't really rock with it. So they are totally not beyond physical, verbal, and emotional abuse to you.
Yeah.
So I don't want nobody, especially guys, to think that being a hyena is some type of easy role among the hyenas. Even if
Nah, I don't think we think that, Miss Crimson Cure, especially if you're talking to us and we've been through it. Because I have a sister. You see what I'm saying? A lot of us men in this community, and then when we in the same community as the black women that are raised as hyenas, we're right next to our sisters, our cousins, and aunts, watching them be raised like that. We're being raised like that as well. Like, there's two separate versions of dysfunction. I might be the boy and I got a sister and I got a brother, and my dysfunctional parents let us go rob and steal and ride out at the night and all that, and then that same parent will let the daughter have boyfriends over and she underage and teaching her about fellatio and things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? Like, we brothers and sisters in this struggle. So if you're speaking to men that are not aware of these conditions in the hood, then yeah, they might not know that what you would call a hyena girl, as she's being bred to be a hyena, it's not all glitz and glamour. It's not all rainbows and sprinkles. Yeah, they might not know. But us brothers that are being raised as hyena men or savages, animal thugs, whatever you want to call us, we know what you talking about, Crimson Cure, because we got sisters, we got cousins, we got aunts, all of that. I seen all of this. My sister, she wasn't raised like that, because it's real complicated how my parents are, because they weren't, like I said, they worked regular jobs. They weren't no kingpins. My mom wasn't no ex-stripper or nothing like that. They were regular, hardworking, blue-collar individuals. It's just they was going through problems in their marriage, and my eldest brother, he had a debilitating disease that they were mourning the impending doom of my brother that was coming. It was real complicated. Then the cheating and it was a lot. So all of that was creating a situation where they were frustrated and they took out their frustration on us in an abusive manner. Not that they were just absolutely horrible people, dregs of society. You know what I'm saying? Like, because it's levels to this. There are some parents out there in the hood, they're actually drug dealers. The mom is on crack. The mom is a stripper. The father's a stick-up kid. The father be selling crack. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's families out there worse than that, but I don't want to paint my family as if it was like that. No, it was just, I felt like my parents, they were going through a lot, and they went a little bit too aggressive on us with the talking to us, berating us, beating on us. They was taking out their aggression with the problems that they was going through. They was taking out on their kids. But there's even worse than that. And I'm saying I seen that from a third party. I didn't see that in my own life, because, like, I was raised in an abusive environment, but they weren't abusive like that to my sister. So I didn't necessarily, my sister didn't turn out all ghetto and hoochie mama-ish and running the streets and all of that type of stuff. She got her own set of problems from us being raised incorrectly, but she didn't end up turning into that. And I'm just trying to explain the idea of the levels of this. You got ghetto homes that raise their children poorly to this level, and then there's a higher level, like got their sons running numbers for them, got their daughters actually out on the block selling their body, and it's their father doing it. What's their mother? There's levels to this stuff. It's bad. But rest assured, Miss Crimson Cure, we know that it ain't all sunshine in the households of young ladies that are being raised to be hyenas. I just think most men, we really don't give a damn to empathize, because y'all won't empathize with us. I think for the sake of our black community, if there's ever going to be any healing, we have got to empathize with each other. Like, we have got to feel the plight of each other. But I don't feel like most of that problem is on the men. It's on the women, because the mass majority of men are not bad actors in dealing with women in the black community. But in my opinion, the mass majority of women in the black community are bad actors. So it's really on them. And remember, the conversation was originally spoken about how we even got here as a people collectively in the first place. And that's because of women choosing to take the welfare checks and the HUD housing over having the men in the community. So if this shit is ever going to be fixed correctly within our community, black women need to humble themselves, apologize, and get back in code. That's really the answer to it. Because most of the black men are not out here selling drugs. That's just the little niggas that y'all women just happen to want to date. So it is what it is. Remember, black men 50% single and childless. Just something to think about. So over 50% actually. So that's what I'm going to end with on this one. I'd like to thank the lovely lady Crimson Cure for giving me a video. This was very interesting to watch. Sad, very sad, and very disgusting, the older woman's behavior, but very insightful for those who don't understand the dynamics of hood households. There you just got yourself a view into the trauma that creates a little niglet that then goes out here and commits a flash mob smash and grab. This is how they're produced. So there you go. I will catch y'all on the next one. Make sure y'all like and subscribe if y'all like what y'all hearing over here, and y'all be safe out there. Peace.